Right guys, so we're back in the Grand Hauler, literally, and this is back on the table, and I've got some more upgrade parts. I'm going to try and get made back into these trucks. So got a couple of parts to go over and replace, some more upgrades on the chassis. So yeah, hopefully I'll be back, get myself back in full swing, get my head back into these trucks, and yeah, I start having some fun again. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of parts from GPM Racing. So new parts from GPM Racing, and I've got the aluminium axle housings to replace the rear axle housings, the plastic Tamiya ones, which are currently on the Grand Hauler. I've decided I'm going to keep all the parts I've replaced underneath aluminium and not paint them. Just, I don't know, I like the look of it. So I've got a lot of work to be catching up with these trucks, and yeah, it's time to just get my head in gear. So here we've got the double drive set. I'll take them out of the packets in a minute, and this is the part number and stuff there, and that's for the double drive axle housing. And the rear gearbox, or one that you would use on a 4x2, sorry, not gearbox, axle housing, or the one that you would use on the rear of any truck. And the part number for that, that's just on there. Now I don't know what these are like, as I've never used them before, so all we can do is try them and see. Oh look, GPM Racing product sticker and that, I never even noticed. I've had these quite a while as well, so that'd be cool. May as well put that somewhere on the truck there. They come with all the necessary hardware and everything else that you need to install them, just to replace the standard Tamiya bolts. And because it's all metal on metal, I would recommend, once it's all swapped over and everything's all greased and you're putting it back together, to use Loctite, because if you're using it outdoors and you're on like not a smooth surface, you're going to end up shaking nuts out of the axles, and then your axles and diffs are going to fall apart. So we'll crack on, we'll get these opened, and I can proceed to strip down the rear end of my Grand Hauler Kenworth, and yeah, like I say, we'll do a transplant of internals and get those installed. So just before we get started, we'll just remove the axles, just so we can have a bit more of a closer look, and we ain't got like the distortion of all the packaging. They're very, very shiny. I like shiny. And there, then we know we're not muddling them up. You can see they've got GPM imprinted here. They look very, very, very nicely finished. I really do like the look of them, and they kind of look like they've come out of a 3D printer with all the lines, but I don't know, again, it's uniqueness. I know it might not be 100% scale looking for a truck, but it's a custom truck, and custom trucks are custom parts, so for me it works. I like them, so other people might not like them. It's not going to be no heavy duty truck where it's hauling all kinds of big heavy stuff or anything like that. Right, so that's the axles removed, and I've just kept them like that because that's the direction like they've come off. I don't want to turn them upside down and then replace everything and then find out I've done it wrong and it end up not turning the right way. So I've just kept them there as in the right place. You get what I mean, don't you? I'm just going to mark up which way, if you will. Just a little bit of pen on them just to give a little mark, then I know what's the top. Well, it would actually be the bottom, the underside of the truck. So yeah, that's the axle stripped off. So now we can look at taking these apart and basically transferring those internals like the diffs and the axle shafts and stuff and bearings, and we'll pop them into those and then refit them same way they've come off. All the holes and everything else within the axles are exactly the same. So let's crack on. Now, upon having a little closer inspection to the axle and the hardware that's provided, these nuts and bolts which we've removed out of the axle casing there, we don't need those, so they can actually stay with the axle casing, because the hardware provided will go through this side here with the lipping, and I don't know if you can see into the other side, it's threaded, so it will lock itself without the need of the nuts. So it kind of makes life a little bit simpler. But yeah, they're looking good. So yeah, as you've seen, they go together exactly the same as them virtually, and it is just a simple transplant. So yeah, happy with them so far. Obviously I'm not going to know how they perform until my truck's up and running, and I honestly don't know how long that'll be, because this is kind of, I don't know, a real nice truck that I want to build. So it's all time and money, and especially getting to a lot of the expensive upgrades and stuff like that, which get really costly. So yeah, there's no like date, and I don't really intend to rush it, so I'll just keep plodding on as I do with it. So yeah, I just thought I'd show that with the axle. So I'll go ahead, get the hardware fitted, and then I'll do the next one. So that's the first axle done. I'm just going to repeat that process for the second one, and the only difference with this is it's got a pinion on both sides, but it's exactly the same. Take it apart, take the axle shafts and diff out, drop it into the other, put the casing back on, obviously the little pinion, sorry, and close it back up using their hardware. There is 4 longer screws, which I'm presuming they will be for the brackets through those. I'm going to just repeat that one, and then we can get them installed back onto the truck. Now I've just had to take the diff apart in the second axle, because I'd started locking them when I first originally built the Grand Hauler, because that was going to be my one for outdoors, and then that changed and I ended up with rusty. So I've just undone that, and that's what I did to lock it. Was basically I took this from this pin and just popped it between those, so basically they couldn't rotate, and it was a solid full lock. diff. So now all I've done is just popped it back on the arm, and now it's open again. So a little dab of grease in here, and get that back on. So yeah, that's just a simple locking and unlocking tip. Doesn't take long. So we'll just fill this up with grease in there. And pop it all back together. Eventually I will replace these joints, and I'll end up putting like a proper prop shaft on. So they're on a temporary for now, but they do look odd against the aluminium. But until I get a prop shaft, they'll have to stay. Guys, there's quite some weight in this chassis now. Those are the GPM axle housings. Went together perfectly. Can I say I really like it? There's just a few bits now that's making it look odd, like these coloured parts. But like I say, I'll end up changing the prop shafts and stuff like that. And up at the front, where I've got the tanks, I've got actually a King Hauler tank and a Grand Hauler tank, and I'm going to be trying King Hauler step as well alongside the Grand Hauler step, because I'm thinking of either fitting an extra second set of tanks or a second set of steps. And the thing is, I like the Grand Hauler tanks because they're a bigger tank, and I like the King Hauler tank because it has the steps on. And I don't know, it's a hard decision. They look more low profiled, like with the truck they sit lower, whereas the Grand Hauler ones sit higher, and so does the step. So I'm in a bit of a catch-22 there. So if any of you guys got any opinions on that, I will be getting the metal ones once I've decided which ones I am using. So it won't be the plastic ones that are staying. These are just here, just for examples for my own, I don't know, ideas of the build. But you guys feel free to leave your comments and your feedback on how you'd possibly have it up the back with the tanks or the steps. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just felt good to actually get some more done. I've got a big smile on my face now. I don't know, I'm really happy, and I can't wait to crack on, get some more videos done. But for now, that's all. So if you like the video, feel free to like it, feel free to drop me a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed, then please do subscribe, and cheers to everybody who is already subscribed, and I shall catch you guys in the next video. Ciao for now, guys.